think it went a little early. There we go.
I'm going to have some breakfast.
Yeah, we need to just
Just be like, whatever.
mhm,
I need to do what my brother does and not even really listen to it.
mhm. Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this installment. Quickly, if everyone could mute their different devices.
I mean, I'm all upset because
Yeah.
it's some bullshit how she wanted to.
There you go. Thank you, Floyd. My name is Brian Doyle. I'm the Director of Investor Relations for Economic Alliance, Snohomish County. Today, we are joined by a representative from Snohomish County's Purchasing Department who will discuss current contracting opportunities and provide advice for small businesses looking to work with the county. They will also be joined by Darling Nava Consulting to discuss the Mariner High School project, which has goals for local and small business participation, and bid packages will be released in early February. Additionally, PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Counselors, will present their services and share a success story from one of their clients. Let us begin by introducing our panel of experts. Joining us today, we have Bramby Tollen, Purchasing Manager, Snohomish County, Washington, Darling Nava Consulting, Cara Buckingham, PTAC Counselor, and Marc Shafer, CEO of Allied Global Logistics Outposts Worldwide Corporation. That is a heck of a name, Marc. That's awesome. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
So to set the stage for our panel discussion, Bramby Tollen, Purchasing Manager, Snohomish County, Washington, Darling Nava with Darling Nava Consulting, and Cara Buckingham and Marc Shafer, they would all like to provide a brief overview of themselves, their organization, and professional experience with their organization and or their role within this discussion topic. Bramby, if you would like to take us away, please.
Great, thank you so much. I'm Bramby Tollen from Snohomish County, and good morning. So I'm hoping everyone can see my slideshow. Can we see it? Okay, great. So Snohomish County covers about 2,000 square miles and serves about 830,000 residents. We have three distinct areas, the executive, judicial, legislative. So we are organized a lot like the federal government. I work for the county executive, Dave Summers. We have a judicial branch and we have a legislative branch with the county council. The purchasing manager role. I'm the purchasing manager. And so my role is really purchasing compliance, cost savings, and customer service. We do a lot of purchase orders for all our purchases over 5,000. We change orders, and we're also doing competition. Public procurement requires competition because when you're using tax dollars, you want to make sure that all the taxpayers have an opportunity to do business with you. And we also have oversight of the county's environmentally preferable purchasing policy. We call it the EPP. And we also do a robust outreach and training program for small, local, diverse businesses. And we're very busy with that. And we're very proud of that program. And we partner with Cara, PTAC, and EASC for training. My role today, chat, is to encourage businesses and individuals to work with the county and to share existing purchases, practices, training, and other resources. Briefly, this is who I am. I've been in purchasing for a long time, have several certifications in purchasing, and I'm very proud that purchasing has won and been recognized for a number of worthy awards. So how am I doing in time? Keep going. Okay. So a little bit more about purchasing and contracting. We are part of the finance department here at Snohomish County. We process over 150 bids, requests for proposals, and requests for qualifications each year. I haven't tracked 2022 yet, but in 2021, we were over $150 million annually of the purchases running through the purchasing division. We are organized because the law organizes us in three main types of purchases and contracts. And the first one is public work. Public work is construction projects, renovation projects, anything that is improving or rehabbing or building new, the building or the property, and is also subject to prevailing wage. Goods, materials, and equipment, those would be things like rocks, gravel, uniform, vehicles, MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and operations, office supplies, things that are tangible that you can describe. Services, the last is architect and engineer, testing, consulting, auditing, banking. So those are the three different main categories that when we're competing and looking for purchases or contracts, the first two, public work and goods, are done by a bid. And the last one is usually done by a request for proposal or request for qualification. Just to go in a little bit more, I wanted to give you a list of the types of public works jobs that we do. And so here's a brief list of our 4 departments that do the majority of the public work. So the airport, Payne Field, has a lot of public work with their tenants and their runways and things like that. Our conservation and natural resources has parks and buildings for parks and trails. They also manage surface water management, the surface water of lakes and rivers, not the whole thing, just the top. Facilities, obviously building maintenance, and the Public Works Department is responsible for the roads and bridges in the unincorporated areas. That's a rundown on public works. Here's goods and materials, different sorts of things that you'll see: equipment, furniture, machinery, materials. Again, think of this as you can describe it. You could say, I need a chair that can go up and down, that can hold 300 pounds, that can last a year, things like that. So you're describing it. So when you do bids, you're describing exactly what you want, and you are awarding based on price. And then services a little differently. You know the outcome, but you really don't know how to get there. And so types of services we buy are listed here. You see technology and software. You see ordinary janitorial services, on-call services for, again, architectural engineering, and professional consulting. So these will mostly be requests for proposals or requests for qualifications. That's it for me.
That is fantastic, Bramby. We're going to switch now to Darling. We'll toss it to you.
Okay, so William, after this, go to slide 3. So anyway, good morning, everyone. I am so excited about this presentation for Mariner High School. I just wanted to let you know that the GC for this project is SPWES. The owner is Mukilteo School District. This are meet our team. Doug Spee is our president. Christopher Christensen is our vice president, as well as our executive project manager. Shelley Henderson is our director of capital project, and yours truly, Darling Nava Consulting, who is leading the outreach efforts. So then we also have our next slide, our collaboration team. Of course, Cara Buckingham, who's been a very good friend and my mentor and all the good stuff when it comes to Cara. She's been there when it comes to connecting with subcontractors, and as well as the Blue Book, who is Sudo. Slide 6, please. So the project overview is, just want to let you know that this is a new 2-story building, 29,797 square foot student center. It has the office, the library addition to the existing Mariner High School. The scope of works includes the abatement, the demolition, and select portion of the existing building. On the structural side, there will be upgrades to the existing building and the campus-wide fire alarm replacement in addition to the new structure. The site improvement includes the utility as well as the student courtyard and the new synthetic turf for the baseball and softball fields. Infield. Next slide, please. So here you will have some rendering photos on the student center. And I don't know whether you guys have been at the Mariner High School. This what do you call this? This building is going to look so awesome. I was there 2 weeks ago, and I know that this is going to make such an impact to the students and as well as the administrators. So you have the student center here on the upper floor, and then the rendering picture on the bottom to the right is the student center looking up north. Next slide, please. And then some more pictures on the career center. And then the library, I believe the last time I was there was the library is on the first floor. Now it's on the second floor. And then you have the counseling area as well as the school store. Next. So just again, the primary goals for Mariner High School, because we want to continue our robust outreach, is to really engage with the community. We want to strengthen the existing relationship we have, and that means all the subcontractors and that are on their database. We continue to engage with them, and then continue to have new relationships that are coming from the Economic Alliance and PTAC and the Blue Book. And of course, get them prepared for the next, for the bidding, as well as getting them to contract. And so we have been, just want to show you how outreach happens on a project. I have been doing outreach since last July to get to where I am. So we have one-on-one session, we have virtual meetings. We had in November and December, we were doing outreach every 2 weeks, getting engaged and making sure we harness all the MWBE and MWBE, the DBE, the SBE, the local Snohomish County businesses. So now we are getting close. Next slide. We are really getting close to the bidding. Now, we just want to inform you and want to be transparent. Our goals for this Mariner High School, our DVBE participation, we are looking for 5%, MBE 10%, SBE 5%, and WBE 6%. We have put 20% participation on our local business in a Snohomish County resident. Next, please. So next slide. So here are the upcoming bid packages. This is the negotiated support services. This is not publicly, what do you call this, advertised. These are quotes that we are going to be receiving from probably mostly from Snohomish County businesses. So make sure that you get hold of me through my email, and I put it on the chat line. Next slide. And then here are the bid packages. There are bid packages due on the 14th and the 16th. So I will be sending this to Economic Alliance and share this big bid packages flyer too. So now the timeline for this is that since we have been doing all the community efforts and community efforts, as well as the pre-construction bid packages, it's January is over. We are moving into February, and the bid packages have been posted through Economic Alliance, through Blue Book, through OMWBE, through all the advocacy groups such as Northwest Minority Builders Alliance and Tabor 100. And in mid-February, we are through April, we are going to do our negotiated support services buyout. And then April 10th, the construction start, and in July, the completion, July 31st, 2024, the completion of the project will be ending. So so what's going on now? I just want you guys to know that we are going to continue having the one-on-one session with any subcontractors that are wanting to come forward and, you know, meet Mariner High School. I do it every Wednesday from 1 to 4 p.m. I have my contact here. I will put that again on the chat line, and also the link to this specs and plans. I want to thank you, and if you guys need any other information, do contact me. Thank you so much for having me.
Darling, we're not letting you off that easy. You got to hang out here for a little while longer. And we have a quick question from the chat for you. Do you happen to know who the architect is on the project?
That is Malem Integris, I believe.
What was that?
Correct.
Integris,
Correct. It's
yeah.
Integris Architecture.
Integris
Okay.
Architect, yeah.
As the general contractor jumps in. Good job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Darling. I'm now going to kick it over to Marc.
Okay, are you sure? I thought Cara was going. Cara, do you want to?
I was testing you, Marc, and you passed. Great job.
Okay, good.
We were all in on it, so good job on that one. Cara, I'd love to kick it to you now. Thank you.
Right. I just gotta find my screen to share. It was right there. Let's see. Okay, you can see me now. See the presentation. So just a little bit about PTAC, also now being referred to, so you know, you've heard it here first, an Apex Accelerator. Yes, PTAC is going through a name and branding change, and we're going to do it slowly. So you can still call us PTAC. We'll answer to that. Eventually, I think like in 2024, we're going to shift completely to be Apex Accelerators. Anyway, we were established in 1985 as part of a Department of Defense program, and to assist businesses with a focus on small business, but we help all size businesses with federal, state, and local government contracting. The program is funded by the federal government and locally through partnerships, as with here they're talking about Thurston, but also Economic Alliance. And so I am based at Economic Alliance of Snohomish County, and I cover the Snohomish County and North region. So I go up to Buckingham County and then over to Island and San Juan's. So let's see, what is my next? The types of services that we offer, we do one-to-one advising on everything related to government contracting, training. We have a program called Bid Match, and I'll go into that briefly. We help with market research and solicitation review. So in terms of our one-to-one advising, we really try to help our business owners hone in on, first of all, why they want to go into government contracting, what they would be selling, and what agencies at any level, again, of government contracting are buying it and how they buy it. And so we go through a pretty extensive conversation about those types of things with our clients. We offer tons of training opportunities. And I know Marc, who is a business owner that does take advantage of PTAC services, he can talk to some of those as well. But we offer over 150 events a year, either through our own development of workshops, or we partner with other groups like Darling mentioned and Bramby mentioned. We'll be getting some things on the calendar with Snohomish County procurement this year as well to help people get connected with Snohomish County. And I just listed a couple of upcoming events, but we have a bunch of stuff on our general calendar. And so this slide deck will be shared afterward with participants, so you can check out the links later. So I mentioned bid matching. So finding bids can be really involved and take a lot of time, and you could spend a lot of time on a lot of sites. It also could be pretty expensive depending on where you who you use to find those bids. So PTAC offers a bid matching service to our clients, and we also reserve 10 bid match subscriptions a year for Economic Alliance Snohomish County members. So you can talk to Brian about that if you're an Economic Alliance member and you aren't participating in PTAC services. But basically, you create a profile for your business. You get to do a 30-day trial for free, and then it's $165 a year if you decide it's a worthwhile program for you. And then everything gets sent directly to your inbox. We do market research, like I mentioned, so we help our clients to determine who buys what you're selling. We can figure out how much was paid. We can look at past awards, so we get some really good business market intelligence for our clients and who the competition is. You can find out who got the award, and kind of, I like to call it reverse engineering back to submitting a potentially winning proposal through some of that market research. And then we do solicitation reviews. Now, we don't actually write people's bid proposals. We've had people ask us to do that. And that's something that we don't know each business. We try to get to know them as much as possible. We don't know them as in depth as they know themselves. And so we do help, though, look at a bid document before they actually submit a proposal or develop their proposal, and we'll walk through it and explain things, answer questions, get answers to questions if we're not sure about it, and just really help prepare. And then we'll look at the proposal before it's submitted, if a client wants that. PTAC is all over the country, and Washington PTAC has 8 regions. We're going to divide, so we have 8 different counselors around the state. And one of the things I like to say is, when you sign up as a PTAC client, if you're in my region, you get me, and you also get all 7 other counselors, because we are very interactive with one another. We have people coming from all sorts of different backgrounds in government contracting or business. And so we really rely on one another for each other's expertise. And it's really great to be able to collaborate with people. And if I don't know an answer to something, I can always call somebody and get the scoop. So just wanted to show you and explain that. And that is it.
Well, that was perfect timing, Cara. I was just about to give you a little,
You're gonna cut me off. Oh,
no, the music hadn't started playing you out yet, so that's good. Now, Marc, we'd like to kick it to you. I would love to hear about your view on this whole business. Thank you.
Okay, let me grab my slides here.
and while Marc's doing that, I just wanted to add, I've had the privilege of working with Marc in several of our workshops, and he asks great questions, and is just a really great networker with other businesses in the workshops. And that's the other thing that I found really cool about our workshop program, is that a lot of businesses, they get to interact with one another during our workshops, which I think makes it a lot of fun, and they get to know who else is out there in case maybe there's an opportunity in the team.
Brian and William, for some reason I'm going to share and it's not allowing me to pull my slides up. Let me see here. So this is giving.
I see it.
Well, you're seeing my screen.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm trying to get to.
It's over there, and yeah.
Can you see that if I do it like that? Okay. Yep. All right, let me see if I can make it larger here. How is that?
That's fantastic, Marc. Thank you.
So how is it that I have come to be a small business, a service disabled small business here in Washington State? So I was born in Pasadena, California in 1974, and I wanted to hit some of the highlights and accomplishments that brought myself and family to Washington. I put on there Eagle Scout 1992. I remember that I had a jamboree back in 1982. I went with my younger brother, a national jamboree for scouting. And I remember these big patches that, because you go to these events and try and share and trade things. And the biggest patch of all was the Washington State. It was bright green, evergreen. And I don't know if that tucked away in my brain, because my wife actually is from Washington State as well too. And we kept trying in the military to get back to Washington. It wasn't finally until our last assignment that we made it to Fort Lewis. But you can see on there that I went to West Point in New York, graduated, joined the Army, 24 years. And 2 months later, we retired from the military. My wife and I got married in 2002, our first child in 2008. And then our twins were born in 2010, while also getting a master's in supply chain management from Kansas University. In August, we retired from the military and began Allied Global Logistics Outposts worldwide in that same month. Our first hire was the following year in 2021. Also, that was in June. And then our first government contract with the Coast Guard was in July of 2021, where we collect the freight that is going to Dutch Harbor in Anchorage, Alaska. And so it's not all of everything that they need, but specialty parts that are required to keep their Bering Sea fleet going. We'll collect them and fly them out to Dutch Harbor. And then there's a point of contact there that will make sure that they get them. Our civilian work that we've done with some container management, some consulting, and then our year 2 government contract here last year. It was extended, and it brings us to today's coffee chat. So as we look to see how this switches to the next slide. Awesome. I'm so excited on this slide sharing. A little bit behind the scenes of Glow's learning. We really focus on the team. We want to do a lot of learning. So as you go from the left to the right, I was able to be a part of the national center there, the Veterans Institute of Procurement, graduated last year. And as Ms. Cara shared, a lot of PTAC type training and Govology, a lot of on-demand. And so really trying to look at what things that we can train on, and that element of time as a small business owner is always crucial, and then tools. So I put on there some screenshots of our app that is one of the tools for civilian folks to get in touch with the Glow and to request logistics support. But every week we have a battle rhythm. I meet with my employee. I make sure that we're updating our pipeline. And then, as you can see on the right there, seeking to monetize efforts. The sam.gov is where government agencies list their requirements for solicitation or for sources sought or information. But even the Washington's electronic business solution, the webs is where you can go for all of the Washington state listings, but they work hand in hand because you can have it on sam.gov and it links to the webs as well too. And then just using the network as well. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of show a little bit more, and I'm going to get excited every time the slides move here. Here we go. Is some internal assessments, kind of how we look at ourselves in a Glow, and it really kind of goes to the culture of a Glow as well. Just that positive, that happy workforce, happy employees, happy customers. They keep that name recognition and the repeat customers. But at the bottom is really the core there: quotes, bids, just finding what things are out there. And so I didn't want to spend too much on this, but I just wanted to share a little bit behind the scenes of as a small business, how we go about assessing ourselves. And this will be my final slide, just to kind of get after what does 2023 look like for Aglow. You can see SCORE on there, the retired business owners, CEOs, CFOs. It's a really great resource that the Small Business Administration has. PTAC, I'm going to have to call it the Apex Accelerator here, but the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers are always great resources. And then, you know, the state and the government agencies, they have local small business developments, just as we experienced today, and really the construct of this coffee with Snohomish County, you know, being able to reach out and get in touch with the community and to find out what's going on. Even Miss Darling, her organization, to try and match up folks with business opportunities. And then those small business liaison officers are offices within big companies like Lockheed Martin, Dynacor. They all have requirements, contractual government, you know, laws say that they need to have small business utilization plans. So they have small business liaison offices. And so as going forward for 2023, this is a big push for Aglow to reach out to these individuals and to get face time with them and to show what it is that Aglow has to offer and to be one of their subcontractors. And so I put a few things on there that Aglow is also working on with 8 Alpha certification and wanting to have a foundation arm. That's just something near and dear to my heart as well too, but just expanding the network and being able to work with folks. And so when Cara asked me to be a part of this today and to share experience that I had with Aglow, the ability to find out what you don't know is really what those PTAC counselors have shared with me. So capabilities statements, being able to look at solicitations and pull them apart and to put together proposals. Cara mentioned the bid match. I was paying over $2,000 for a resource, and yes, they did help with some of the reviews of solicitations, but really everything that these counselors offer for free is fantastic. And the bid match, I started it in December, mine, and each day you get a push, and it gives listings based on your keywords, your business model, your codes of how you register. You get opportunities that you can go through and research. And so tremendous opportunities. And with that, I will stop talking, and really the beauty of the coffee is hearing from you guys, all of your questions, and being able to share what we've learned. And so you can also learn and grow too.
That's fantastic, Mark. Thank you. And I think something really big was highlighted there. I get to talk to a lot of businesses in my role, and when they ask what PTAC is, and they ask what is government contracting, and I say our PTAC counselor Cara, she sits you down from the first moment you had the idea of wanting, what is government contracting, and she'll take you through the whole process. And it's telling you what you don't know, and that's a great line, Mark. I really appreciate you saying that. So before we begin with some questions, we'd like to remind all attending this installment of Coffee Chats via Zoom to please submit questions you wish for the panel to discuss in the chat. We will rely on your questions. We will relay your questions to the panel, time permitting. Now let's start the discussion with our first question for the panel. Bramby, you are up first. How can local businesses become more involved in the county's procurement process?
Okay, thank you. Great job, everybody. It was very informational. I learned a lot. So procurement process, how to become more involved. So in green, I've got some key phrases. So there's really 8 suggestions. And the first is find the opportunities. And there is a slide. I believe the slide decks are going to be available. Is that right, Brian? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I do have a slide in this deck exactly with the links and the so purchasing for goods and services for and small works, we have our own purchasing portal at Snohomish County. And so I'll give you the link for that. Look and see what's available would be the first thing I would say. And then for our large public works jobs, we use Builders Exchange. And again, the link is available, and participate when appropriate. And I heard Cara talk about some services that she has with one-on-one advising. You really want to make sure that you're qualified to do and you have the capacity to do a project before you decide to submit on it. There's a lot of work that goes in, and want to make sure that you're not wasting your time on, you know, if it says you must have 10 years experience and you only have 8, that would be a mandatory requirement, and you don't want to go down that path. So I would say look and see at the opportunities that are available. And next, we can when should you participate? So we're happy to help you. You can ask us for help anytime there's not a bid you're interested on the street. And the reason we can't talk about bids or RFPs when they're on the street or available is because there is a silent process, and that silent process or period ensures that nobody at the county is giving one bidder or one supplier more information than anyone else. We want it to be a very fair, consistent process, and we want all information to be received by all potential bidders at the same time. So if it's on the street or available, call Cara. And if it's not, let us know. We're happy to talk to you. There, in every single Snohomish County RFP, there is a clarification process where you ask questions, and those questions are specific to the specifications or the deliverables or the scope of that bid. Submit the questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There's no such thing. If you do ask something that's already there, we'll just refer you back to where it is. But submit the questions. That is your opportunity to get clarification on what we're looking for. If you need help completing a submittal, determining, like I said earlier, if you should submit, ask PTAC. They have some great services, and they can help you. And again, when we have that bid or RFP out on the street, we can't tell, because that would create an advantage. Cara also talked about the reverse engineering. If you weren't successful, understand why you weren't. Request a debrief. We'll go through it. It sounds like Cara has some market research that they're going through it too. Look and see who was successful. Why were they successful? And we do post a lot of the submittal, especially for the bids, online. So you don't even have to do a public records request or come in, or a lot of it's just posted online on our purchasing portal. And the last is participate, attend trainings, review other agencies' information, collaborate with PTAC. That's how you get more involved. And anyone else? That's all I have. Nope. Back to you, Brian.
Perfect. Quick question from the chat. I believe this is for Darling. For the Mariner High School project, will there be a third-party safety inspection, or if they're either the general contractors on the line real quickly, for compliance for noise, dust, silica exposure, and ensuring contractor compliance?
So for the Mariner, I just gone ahead and cut and paste, and I'm sending it to our executive PM. And so I just need that individual's email back, so that I can go and respond accordingly, if that's okay.
Perfect. And then I'm going to jump ahead to a question for Cara. Cara, what resources are available to help Snohomish County businesses navigate the procurement process?
Well, we do a lot of workshops to understand the procurement process, and Bramby and I and her team are going to be, we've met, and we're going to be putting a couple of training sessions together on how to understanding the procurement portal, and a couple other things like that. And so keep your eyes open. The best thing to do is to check our events and workshop page, and I can share that in the chat. I hope that answers the question.
That's great. Thanks, Cara. A question for Marc that I jotted down. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know a little bit of insight on the same thing. How was it starting a logistics company during a pandemic when supply chain issues were the phrase of the day? Can you give a little background into how that started and how that's like, how was that first initial year?
I will definitely give you two things. One that's crucial, that I didn't do it on my own. You saw on my slide that I was married in 2002. My wife was massive in that. So we definitely felt that in retiring from the military, wanted to stay active, wanted to do something. It was always been my passion of doing logistics. And so being able to be prepared for that was really, it was a challenge, but the way that the pandemic and COVID worked with regards to a lot of things going to the web, I was able to soak in so much learning and training that I know when I was in the military, you had to go and be in person and do a lot of face-to-face. There was so much learning and resources available. That was probably one of the biggest tools that allowed us to build our foundation of knowledge was the Govology training. I was able to do a lot of on demand. I think you saw it on Cara's slide that it's a resource that you have to pay for, but in working with the PTAC and now the Apex accelerators, that you can get the code in order to, I mean, it's thousands of dollars of training just online. So a lot of it is educating yourself, but then for setting up our business with Aglow, it was being diligent as far as filling out paperwork. A lot of that first year was in credentialing, being registered as a small business, being able to register as service disabled. So it was just persevering and continuing to set up. It's definitely a long game. And so government contracting, a lot of people told me, sure, but I had great ideas. Oh, first year, 2 contracts, 3 contracts, lots. Be patient. But also, as I counseled friends that were also retiring, I said, go to your local small business administration source opportunities. So via SCORE, via PTAC, via Economic Alliance, there's so many resources out there to plug folks in to the government space, and that's where I know that I benefited from that.
If I can also add another wonderful resource, especially for businesses just starting out, is the Small Business Development Center. And I see Giselle on there, but we work hand in hand with the Small Business Development Centers, with SCORE, and so many of these other resources that Marc mentioned. And that's one of the benefits of tying in with PTAC and Economic Alliance, is that networking opportunity and getting exposed to the network of resources that are out there. And as Marc mentioned, our services are no cost for PTAC clients. And I know that can be a huge benefit, especially when you're getting your business started.
No, that's great. It's one of the unique parts of what we do here at Economic Alliance. We have all these facets, and so many of them are free resources. And hi, Giselle. Good seeing you here. Now I've got another question for Bramby. Can you describe the criteria used to evaluate bids and proposals from businesses, please?
Okay, sure. Let me share a screen. It's a lot to cover. So everyone see the screen?
Yep.
As I spoke earlier, there's a big difference between bids and proposals. So bids are really for goods, goods, equipment, public work. They're for things that you can describe. the outcome. You can describe what you're buying. Bids, the award process is to the lowest responsible bidder. So lowest means the lowest price, and responsible actually means two things. Responsible means the supplier or the contractor is qualified, maybe the capacity, experience, licenses, maybe they're the distributor. That responsible really talks about the supplier, the contractor. The bid also has to be responsive, and that means that the bid submittal meets all the requirements and specifications asked for. So if we ask for chairs that are 16 inches high and we get a bid for 15 inches high, that is not responsive. The requirement was 16 and you have to be at 16. And so what happens is the bids are opened publicly. So the buyer process opens them publicly if they're received on time. If they're not received on time, we can't touch them. We can't look at them. We have to turn them back. That is a state law. And then the buyer will go through and make sure that they are responsible, meaning that all the qualifications that we've asked for have been provided in the bid. And they will put together the bids in a spreadsheet or electronically, however they're coming in, showing the lowest dollar first. They then go to their customer and they look at the lowest dollar in the item first, the lowest dollar bid, and the customer says, yes, that meets the specification that was in the bid, or no, it doesn't. And so if it meets everything and they're deemed responsible, it gets awarded to lowest responsible. If for some reason there's something wrong, they didn't sign for it, they did 15 inches instead of 16 inches, it's non-responsive, we go to the next low. And so that we just keep working our way from the lowest price to when we find the lowest responsible bidder. There is no opportunity to negotiate. There is no opportunity to ask for additional information. The only thing we can do on a bid is we can clarify if we don't understand something that you've said. We can't allow you to give more information. We can just ask you to clarify what you've provided. Typical processing time is pretty quick for bids. So, we're required to be out there at least 13 days, plus it takes 2 days for us to advertise, so about 15 days. It takes about 15 days to get approval too. If there's a contract involved, you just have to agree to it. There is no negotiation on that. However, specifications might be as easy as just, I want this chair and it's an Acme 123 or equal. Or you could be specifying and writing specifications for a new building, which can take a year or more to be finished by the architect and engineer. So specifications are really what takes a long time in the bids. Proposals, totally different. Requests for proposal or requests for qualifications, they're going to be for custom services, software. And so it's really what, when we tell proposals, will say, this is what we're looking for. And the expertise of the proposer comes into play. So they're going to tell us the best way to get what we want. And so it's a very open process. You can change the specs as you learn more. You can issue addendums to clarify. You can do all sorts of things with an RFP. It kind of evolves as it goes along. The weighting and how it's evaluated has to be published in the RFP or RFQ, and then you weight it according to what you've published. Common weightings or common criteria or qualifications, a schedule, a plan, key personnel, references, similar projects, and scoring will vary with each individual RFP or RFQ. Just real quickly, the difference at the county between an RFP and an RFQ is we do RFQs when pricing is not either allowed to be asked or is already known because it's already state defined. So architect and engineer, you want the most qualified, just like a doctor, you want the most qualified. Those are professional services. You don't want the low bid for that kind of stuff. You want the most qualified. And so the law actually says you pick the lowest qualified first, and then you negotiate price. And then there's a lot of services that the state actually says, this is how much you'll pay. And so we're not asking for prices. So that at the county, that's the difference between a request for qualification means no pricing we're not asking for pricing and we're not evaluating pricing, and a request for proposal includes pricing in the evaluation. The buyer process, the bid, our proposals are not open publicly, and the reason they're not is because we're going to end up doing a lot of negotiation, and we don't want to lose the leverage of information by having those open. There's an evaluation committee that will score at the county. It's a minimum of 3 people, and they are scoring on exactly what was defined in that RFP or RFQ. And then once we have ranked them highest to lowest, they start the contract negotiation process with the highest ranked. And if for some reason they're not able to get to a contract, then we go to the second highest ranked. So very different process than the bids. Typical processing time is usually 2 to 3 months for an RFP or RFQ. And then 2 or 3 months, and that 2 or 3 months includes the evaluation, and then 2 or 3 months for contract negotiation and approval. And usually RFPs can be easier to write, so it's about a month, but if you're writing an RFP for enterprise software, that could be a lot longer. So pretty quick, down and dirty, but very different processes and very different evaluation criteria. So hope that helps.
That's great, Bramby. Mark, I see your hand is raised.
I just wanted to chime in and say this is why I feel these coffee chats and engaging with the resources that are out there are fantastic, because I've learned something, you know, just in hearing Bramby talk it through, just as they're the lowest responsible bidder, you know, just being able to understand these terms, because it's important going in as a small business, understanding how to write the proposals, write the bids, knowing those you know little dissections between the twos. And I did want to also highlight too, Brian, is that even in doing some of the training and some of these engagements, just even with the different presenters, I mean, I've done, you know, different training sessions, and one person presents the material, and then the next time I go, I see it again. So just, you know, staying active with Snohomish County here is, you know, so valuable for small businesses.
That's fantastic. It's almost learning the language, learning the terminology of trying to be in this world. So it's a good note. I have one final question that I'd like for all of you to try and touch on. And also, I think Darling in the chat, there was a quick question about the mechanical, HVAC engineering, electrical and plumbing for the Mara High School project. If you could kind of respond to Fariz.
Yeah, I did. I'm waiting on Christopher to respond to that, and I got his email as well as for Betty. So I am responding as we are. I'm looking at the chat
in real time. That's fantastic. And then Chris Nelson, I would absolutely direct you to Cara, our PTAC counselor, to see any other opportunities coming down the road for advertising and media services.
And I did share a link with Chris about an upcoming state bid. So
you guys make my job so easy. I appreciate that. Okay, one final question here. And please, whoever wants to jump in first, are there any opportunities for local businesses to form partnerships or joint ventures with other businesses to bid on county contracts or different size projects?
Well, I would say generally there are often opportunities to team, and that's really probably between the businesses. Whether they want to team with another business. We actually have in February a workshop coming up about teaming and strategies put on by a really great presenter and someone who's been very successful in government contracting. But he talks about the benefits and some of the pitfalls of teaming and things to avoid. But it can be beneficial to team because maybe you have a real strength in one area and another business has that strength somewhere else, and put together you can double your resources and really present a good bid proposal together better than you could have done alone. So that's a more general statement about teaming. I don't know Darling, maybe you
wanna-
have
yeah,
some
I wanna-
examples.
Yes, one example is that most of the time when we meet like the prime subcontractor, we usually team them up too with the other small business, whether it's a local Snohomish County business or an MWBE, so that they are working underneath the prime sub. And we have done that many times, and we encouraged our GC that to allow us consultant to match them, because that is where the relationship starts. And we do that on, whenever there is an outreach event like PTAC, we match everybody as much as we can so that relationship starts right there. We allow, we want to make sure that the prime sub supports the small business.
I mean, there's really no way to get around it. There's such fantastic opportunities out there. I think exactly what Cara said is there's a lot of pitfalls. And so it's also, you saw on my slide, I also want to do this, but you want to do it correctly. I think it's with anything, you want to make sure as much of preparation as you can, that you have all your documents, you write things down, and everybody is in agreement. But I think the time to do it is ahead of time, because once you see something that's been released, it's hard to set, okay, this is how our organization structure is going to be. This is how we're going to do consequence management. This is how we're going to do, any of those, risk mitigating measures. You want to hash all that out ahead of time, so that when the request for a proposal comes out, or you see a bid, you've already done that homework ahead of time, and then you can jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Darling is some matchmaking things as well too. So we're excited to see how they play out this year.
I think Bramby shared in the chat the Snohomish County Purchasing Portal, and that's a good place to look for opportunities.
And then also, after this coffee chat, we'll also be sending out to everyone who's registered for this. All the information has been shared with us, and slides and different things. So again, we would thank you very much to our panel. Again, we'd like to thank our panel of experts for joining us today for this important dive into the contracting opportunities for Snohomish County businesses. For those who registered for today's installment of Coffee Chats via Eventbrite, check your inbox later today for a list of references from this discussion, as well as a link to the recording should you wish to rewatch it or share it. Please do. We would like to, excuse me, where are we at here? Making sure we're all there. We would like all of you to join us and the Stanwood Commerce Alliance for a casual after-hours networking event. Sorry, we're doing a little house cleaning right now. We're getting little events out there. An after-hours networking event at Sol Brewing Company in Stanwood. Join us for networking, beverages, and good fun. This event is open to all EASC and Stanwood Commerce Alliance members, as well as any members of the Stanwood and surrounding area business community interested in more information on the city and county chamber membership opportunities. Admission includes VIP seating, drink ticket, appetizers, networking opportunity with name badge provided at entry, meeting me in person and my colleagues Rachel Barrera and William Schultz. It is a can't miss opportunity in the Northwest County area. We'd also like to let you know the next episode of Coffee Chats will take place on February 14th. I know that day has nothing else going on in it, right? Again at 8:30 a.m., where we'll introduce a Coffee Chat series focusing on the conservation efforts being made here in Snohomish County. That should be fantastic. We'll also, Snohomish County, for all of Snohomish County, Black History Month is here, and we want all of you to be a part of it. As part of our Snow Code initiative, throughout February, we'll be sending out updates on local events celebrating the rich history and culture of the Black community. Stay informed on all the events happening in our community by subscribing to our newsletter. Don't miss out on this opportunity to learn, grow, and engage, and please subscribe now. And to conclude, let's adjust to gallery view so we may all see all of our faces. And now let's raise our coffees and cheers to the close of today's Coffee Chats.
Yes.
Thank you all. Great discussion this morning. And thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, happy Tuesday and have a great week, everybody.
Thanks,
Just get our
everybody.
Chocolate ready.
Thank Cara, Bramby, Darling, and Marc. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
very much.
wonderful day.